So in the video today topic is what is a Docker, why I use the Docker, what is the advantage of the Docker and what is the disadvantage of the Docker. A Docker is a tool used to package an application with everything it's needed to run, such as application code, Python version, Python packages, system library and environment configuration. This is a package run inside a isolated environment, and this isolated environment called a container. It is just like when you buy a desktop and we assemble the each and every parts like CPU, monitor, keyboard, mouse, etc. Assemble it, we, and we come home from the shop in a package of this machine. Okay, then here we set up. It's create a environment. You create another desktop. Then this another environment, separate, isolated. Okay. For example, a Docker container for Django projects can contain Python, Django, PostgreSQL drivers, your Django source code, and the commands for the starting the server like Python manage.py run server. That's kind of. So what do we use the Docker? Without a Docker, every developer must manually install the Python, Django, PostgreSQL and other dependencies. Okay, this may cause of the common problems like the project works on my computer but it does not work on the another computer because the dependencies are not available. Sometimes version are not matched. Suppose I use a Python 3.12 and my friend is use Python 3.8 just same. So that causes effect. Same as for Django and PostgreSQL. Docker provides the same environment on the every supported computer. Okay. For example, another developer can start your project using the command like docker compose update. Okay. Some advantage like constant environment. The application use the same Python and package version on the every container. Easy to project setup. Other developers do not need to install every dependency manually, because when we run the package, a container, then automatically these dependencies are installed in the environment. Okay, not a local machine. Application isolated. Different projects can be used the different version of the Python, Django, Postgre without conflict. Easy to share. You can share the Docker configuration when with your team. Okay, means image. They are fast and lightweight because Dockers are work on an application layer, not kernel and hardware level like a virtual machine. So that's the reason this is a lightweight. Containers start a faster and use fewer resources. The full virtual machine useful for the development purpose. The same Docker image can be used during the development, testing and deployment. Easy to multi-service management. Docker Compose can run Django, Postgres, Redis to the other services together. Actually is operate the multiple services simultaneously. Some disadvantage come with the Docker. Learning beginners need to learn the Docker files, images, container, volumes, ports and compose. Difficult for the beginners. Additional configuration like you may create and maintain the files such as the Dockerfile, compose.yaml file and Docker ignore. Okay, that's the first. In later we discuss each and every file. Why we use these files. Okay. Docker container image Docker container image and volumes consume RAM, CPU and storage. Okay. Debugging can be confusing. Error related to working, volume, permissions and container logs can be difficult in initial stage. Sometimes database data may be deleted if the Docker volume are removed accidentally. Okay. If someone run this command accidentally, then Docker compose down hyperlink. Not necessary for the every project use the Docker. Small personal projects may be easier to run with normal Python virtual machine. Okay. Simple definition for the Docker. Docker packages and applications and the dependencies into containers so that application can be run consistently on the different computer. This is the file architecture of the Docker projects. For in my Django project, inside the Docker folder, we create a two container, and this is Django container and this PostgreSQL container. Okay, Django container here we installs our app on Python, Django and my project code also. Okay, the dependencies of Python and Django and Postgres. In the Postgres container, we install the dependencies of the database. Okay. Docker does not require a main file for the Django project with PostgreSQL. These are commonly used. Okay. So we come our first file, Dockerfile. Okay. Dockerfile. I'm also use my application. Just maintain this. Okay. This is my application. So we come our Docker file. Okay. The Docker file is the contain the instruction for the building the Docker image of your Django application. It's contain the instructions for building the Docker image for my Django application. At first, here you write a from Python 3.13 slim. Okay. So from the Python 3.12.slim, use a lightweight Python 3.12 image as a starting environment. Okay. It's already contain the Python, so you do not need to install Python manually inside the container. Okay. Another is env. Another two is env Python do not write bytecode equals to 1. What is means? Equals to 1. It's prevent the Python from creating the .pyc cache files. .pyc is Python C. The code is in C. Okay. And another is Python buffer equal to 1. Immediately display the Python and Django output in the Docker logs. If we don't write it, then it's come to delay to execution. Okay. Another is work underscore app. Creates or select the app as a working directory inside the container. Okay. In the app, we create a Docker container in this app. Okay. App. Then another is copy requirement.txt.t. This is requirement.txt. The copy from your computer It copies the requirement.txt from your computer into the app inside the image. Okay, the dot means the current working directory whose app is used. Okay, then another is so then run pip install hyphen no cache dir hyphen requirement.txt. This command install the dependencies, requirement dependencies packages like Python, PostgreSQL driver, other Python packages will while building the image. जो builder बनाबो. Copy copies the entire Django project from your computer into inside the image. Okay, this is expose h1000 document this Django application use the port 8000. Actually it do not publish the port your computer. Port publishing is handled inside the compose.yml. Okay, actually this is our Django application use this port. We actually joint or merge these two ports at our local machine and our Docker image. Okay, then another is cmd. It is a Django command. Everyone knows this, python manage.py run server. So Python is my Python and manage.py command line utility used for managing the Django project. A run server is a sub command to run the lightweight Django server, and this is our port. Okay, start the Django development server when the container start 0.0. allow Django receive the request from outside the container. Outside the container means our local machines. Okay, another file is our compose.yml. Okay, this is a compose.yml. The compose.yml file define the run a multiple containers together. Actually is handle the multiple containers, like one is Django, another is the Postgres. Okay, here we write is but in my app I only use the Django, but in the example we also write Postgres. Service, what kind of service it is? Service means service contain all the containers required by the project. Okay, then we come the web. Two types of service. Web means Django and DB means PostgreSQL. So here we use the web. Then define the Django container. This is the web application. Build tells the Docker to build the Django image. Tells the Docker to build a Django image using the Dockerfile. That's current directory Django image. Okay. Then a container name gives the container readable name. This is optional. We can use it or not. It automatically name is created. Then if you use, you can write this command sh-c python manage.py migrate prepare run server. Okay, override the cmd instruction from the Dockerfile. Okay, it's perform two operations. At first run the database migration, then start the Django server. The second command run if the migration because we use the logical operator and success based on the server is run. Okay, but here we don't use it, we only use in the Dockerfile. Another is our volumes. Okay. Connects the current project directory on your computer. Volumes की कुछ connect your current project directory on your computer and update the code become available inside the container. Update the code is available inside the container. Oh, sorry. Then our ports. Okay, this power port. Connect your computer port to the container port. Merge the port. 8000 and 800. Okay. Like example, a host port and the container port. Okay. You can open the application HTTP localhost. Okay. Just run it and you go. And another is our database file is an image file. So we can use the dependencies on DB. That is, tell the Docker compose to start a database server before starting the Django server. Okay. In our next video, we tell how to implement the PostgreSQL in the Dockerfile. The image, the Dockerfile. So another is our application is docker.ignore. The docker.ignore means this. The docker ignore file tells the Docker which file and directory should not be copied into the image. Docker ignore files tells the Docker which files and directory should not be copied into an image. Like here, cache file and .pycpo and environment variables, some git nodes and env files, they are not copied to our local directory to image file. Okay. Why it is neat? Reduce the image size, make the image building faster, avoid the copy unnecessary files and prevent the sensitive file to enter some data. Some env settings have a password, contain the password of our database. To the help of this Docker ignore, we can prevent that when we upload in the GitHub. Our secret keys being copied from the Docker image. Another is the .env store environment specific configuration. Here we configure the host, port ID, password, username, database name of our database, and also secret key of the Django, db equals to true, etc. Helps to configure the separate from the source code. Okay. If we not maintain the env file, then we go to our files.com called settings.py and Dockerfile compose.yaml, then rechange. If we share someone this code, then we go to these files and then rechange this requirement of this. So it is totally time consuming. So we configure all the settings in the env file. Okay, should be normal added in the git ignore. Another is the requirement.txt. This is our requirement.txt. It is not especially in a Docker file. It is a Python dependency file used during the Docker image build. Okay, so the dependencies Docker, Django versions, and it is a PostgreSQL version. Dependencies, they are all the dependent. Docker file install this package using using this command in the Docker file. Pip install no cache directory means cache directories .php file are not installed, only install the requirement dependencies. Okay. Add the Python packages 100 and reduce the images. Okay, with the help of this command we can start our image file, create a container and run the project. Compose up to build. So Docker ignore prevent the file from being copied into a Docker image, and git ignore prevent the file being uploaded to the git. Okay, so simplify this summary. Dockerfile builds the Docker image, and compose.yaml run the Django and Postgres together, simultaneously run the containers. Docker.ignore execute the unnecessary files from the image. .env store the configuration and the sensitive values. Requirement.txt lists the Python dependencies. The help of this Docker can read it and add it to the image. This is settings.py. This is the settings of Django settings, contain the Django settings, Postgres environment settings and variables. Git ignore prevent private and unnecessary files from the git ignore. Run the setup command optional. This is optional, or you can use it. So the help of the Docker desktop, we can run our app. But where the Docker desktop? My Docker desktop is, I don't know. Start recording. This is my Docker desktop application, and this is my image file. Create the container. This is a container ID and image name, and this port ID. It's run on this machine. Now we want to run it, and this particular port ID, our application is run. Okay, successfully run our application. You can see we enter some name Aninda ANI@gmail.com and some password. Set it and save it. Okay, our Django inside a Docker application is successfully run. That's all about this video.